So you obviously have a lot going on. I know you went from 0 cases to thousands of cases in a very short period of time. You've got cases handled all over the country. I want to go back to the personal side a little bit. How do you manage the stress of all of that? And you with 5 kids, I mean, it almost sounds impossible. Tell me what are some of the things that a younger executive or a lawyer that seeks to maybe get into a management role in a law firm, what kind of advice could you give them? How do you manage all of these plates that have to be spun at all times?
Great question, and happy to provide guidance to others, although hard to take it myself, right? I mean, it's a beast. It's a challenge. It's a lot of stress, a lot of work. So the advice for those that are coming up is that you got to put in the work. You got to put in the time. That's inevitable. I mean, you can't just accomplish these things by sheer luck or just hoping it's going to happen. But you got to grind and put that time in. And everyone, we were talking about this on our hike today. Every once in a while, trying to pick your head up and look around and just appreciate where you're at. I mean, that's a big thing where I'm at now is just gratitude. Just when it gets hard, it's what I want. It's what I've asked for. So trying to be appreciative of the difficult times, because that's how you grow. It's how you achieve. It's how you do it. So whether that means I'm on the verge, constantly on the verge, if you will, that's the growth mindset, the fun that is in the path of the journey that we're on. So.
Nic Edson, welcome to On the Verge podcast. Man, I called you like a week ago and I said, hey man, will you join me in Crested Butte, Colorado and let me interview you? And you're like, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And
Here we are.
That just goes to show your adventurous spirit, and we haven't known each other for long, so I appreciate you coming here and spending this time with me. I want to give a big shout out to Vaquera House Hotel for hosting. This is our first ever remote podcast, so we're in Crested Butte, Colorado. Got to do a little hike together this morning on the Obi Joyful Trail. It's a beautiful day, so man, it's a pleasure to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here, Danny. I mean, the hotel is beautiful. The scenery is amazing. The hike was definitely joyful and beautiful today. So appreciate it, buddy.
I love being able to do this podcast in a different location.
Yep.
Have a little fun along with it. So just want to introduce you real quick. It's Nic Edson. He is the CEO of Big Auto, which is a private equity-backed national law firm. Very interesting position that you have, so I'm excited to cover that with you. But you are a graduate of Idaho State University.
Idaho State. Well done.
Played football at Idaho State, and then went on to play professional football in the Canadian Football League.
That's right, up in the CFL for the BC Lions.
Yeah, all right.
It was a little bit of fun. So.
And then also from Canada.
Yeah, so I grew up in Vancouver, Canada. I wanted to play football down in the States. Canada had good college football, but it wasn't the same as the U.S. So growing up watching the movies, the TV shows, you want to be in that American football college atmosphere. And Idaho State was great. So I was talking with a couple of schools. They offered a scholarship to come down, and it was a great opportunity. I met my wife, Katie. She was playing volleyball. I was playing football. So we had a lot of fun in Pocatello.
Yeah, and you're a linebacker.
Yep, played. That's right. I started, got recruited as a safety.
Okay.
And then I moved down to outside linebacker, and then moved to inside linebacker. There was some shifting of the body and getting bigger.
Yeah.
And other maybe faster people coming into the team. But my last 2 years was at middle linebacker, yeah.
And so football, married to Katie, 5 boys.
5 sons, that's right.
Ranging from 3 to 13, right?
Well done, yeah. 3 to 13. Next month, most of them will bump up another year. I got a lot of July birthdays that are coming up.
So you've got a lot going on, to say the least.
We are a very busy family. My wife and I try and coordinate as best we can to keep the chaos at bay. We like to plan. I know you're a big fan of EOS. We are as well, even in our family, on trying to schedule things out because there's so much going on with all the kids and sports and activities. But we are a busy group, that's for sure.
Well, I think for our audience, I love interviewing people that are always on the verge, and that's what this podcast is about. It's on the verge. These are ordinary people that get extraordinary results, and you are certainly one of those guys. I Well, I'll always like to start with, tell me about your morning routine. I think that's where every day starts. So
Morning routine.
tell me
Well,
about it.
first, I appreciate the compliment. On the verge is a great mindset, and as you're going through your career journey, through your life journey, it's trying to think of growth and next steps. So it's a nice thing to say that you see me as being on the verge. Morning routine. So I'm a big health nut, fitness guy. My wife and I were blessed with the opportunity to play college athletics, and it's really kind of stuck with us with our lifestyle choices. So right now the morning routine is alarm goes off at 6. We used to go off at 5, but Katie noticed I was not quite as rested and calm in the evening time as I was eager to get to bed. So 6 o'clock the alarm goes off. We get the boys up. During school hours, we're trying to get them ready for school and get them going. And then I like to go to the gym. So it's a mile run to the gym, a good, perfect commute there for me. So I run to the gym. I get in the sauna. I love the sauna, 15 to 20 minutes in the sauna.
Yeah.
Then do an hour of weights, go through and pick that up. And then I run home, usually about a 2.5 mile loop. Back home, I go a little bit longer on that way. And then I hop in the ice bath. So I love the ice bath. To me, that's kind of the in-between reset from morning routine. All right, I worked out, clear the mind, hop in the ice bath, and then I'm ready for work. So
I love that you're doing all that at the young age that you are, right? And I mean, so man, you're putting in like 3 miles a day. You're getting some weightlifting in. You're taking care of your heart, your body with some sauna work, and then doing the cold plunge.
I'm trying to. So we always throw a little something new. There's a new phase or new fad or new article I read, and Katie laughs at all the different components. Or right now I'm throwing some functional mushrooms into the morning routine as well because of Laird Hamilton and XPT, Gabby Reese, all that stuff. I'm a big fan of. But yeah, we're always trying to get better or tweak things. Or my wife's now got me on magnesium at night, taking these magnesium pills to help with sleeping. But we're looking to improve. We're looking to see, hey, what works, what other people do. There's still a whole long list of stuff that I still want to get to, including blood work and gut check and all these other things to further improve the routines and kind of what we're doing. But we feel fortunate that we both have a desire to focus on that, right? To figure out what works, what doesn't work, what do we feel good, and we're hoping it's trickling down to our kids. Even with our oldest Clay, it's been fun seeing him this summer take some of that stuff to heart and feel some of the impacts of working out and trying to focus on nutrition even at 13, 14 years old. So
well, with so much on your plate, I'm assuming those workouts is what kind of fuels you for your day.
It is a mandatory thing. Sometimes there's early meetings where we got to shift the schedule, and I definitely notice when the morning routine gets shifted, the whole day kind of gets affected. So we try and keep it pretty strategic on, all right, let's get this in, let's get it done, let's get the mind clear and ready to go. And
so as a college and professional athlete, I'm curious what, and also with your boys, I know they're in a lot of sports and things too, but what do you think you learned from those experiences that have transitioned into the business world?
So athletes think team mindset, right? So growing up in Canada, I was playing hockey, football, rugby, baseball, basketball, always doing that component of it. College sports is a lot more like a corporate setting, right, where you've got meetings and schedules and all of these different things, but it always comes back to team for me. So that's something that's resonating with me from early in my career with the team we've built at Big Auto. It's that team mindset and really being able to have a unified vision of saying, okay, we can go accomplish whatever it is, whatever we want our quarterly or yearly goals to be. If we get the whole team moving in the same direction, you can accomplish some pretty great things. So it has been phenomenal in my career growth. It's been something I look at as we add on team members, as we're interviewing people or we bring them in. We spend a lot of time in the interview process with people adding on to our team, and I want my teammates to be involved in that process too, because you're bringing someone into that family atmosphere. So, sports, athletics, it for me has kind of shaped how my practice goes, how my career has gone, how the business side of things has gone. So it's been a pivotal part, and I'm very, very happy and proud of the time that you put in a lot of hours with sports to do that. And a lot of time people think, well, it's got to be professional ranks, or it's got to be, you got to become a coach, or it's all got to be sports. It can trickle into everything: life, family, work, any of that stuff. So we've really tried. Katie and I have really tried to balance that in our lives as well.
Yeah. So with Big Auto, and before Big Auto, you were a personal injury lawyer. You did both litigation and pre-litigation, from
Yep.
what I understand. So you've got to
Yep.
kind of had the gamut of that. Worked for a number of years as a producing attorney, but there's a big difference between business of law and the practice of law. So you've been in the practice of law for a decade,
Yep.
fighting for clients, but then with this opportunity a couple of years ago, you've transitioned into the business of law, right? And you literally had this opportunity to be well funded, to start a national brand, really cool name, Big Auto, and with that, you had to build a team. So tell me
Yeah.
about how you went about designing the functional accountability chart, the org chart of this startup.
So yeah, big transition for me in my career. Even before Big Auto was realizing there is a business of the law, right? And a lot of times I started in the billable hour mindset and more the traditional commercial litigation, business disputes, some personal injury. But as I kind of morphed into full-time personal injury with the contingency fee, you realize with the data, with the analytics, with the business operation, it is a business, right? You're still an attorney, you're still dealing with clients, all of those things, but I was really drawn to the business side. So as my career continued to go, when this opportunity came for this team to come together with the investment side, with the other owners, with Big Auto, was just a great opportunity for me to really kind of jump in on this. So now it's shifted from the book of business and the clients to, okay, now you got to run an organization. So
Sure.
as we've gone through and gone from one to many, it's all right, who's going to do what. It's the EOS principles. So early on in this journey, I was fortunate enough to get some connections with John Knockhazel and Mike Morris with the Mike Morris Law Firm, Fireproof Coaching. They're big on EOS and Gino Wickman. And really reading Traction and Rocket Fuel started planting those seeds of, okay, there's some structure here.
Yeah.
There's a form that you can kind of follow on, all right, who's your visionary, who's the integrator, who's on your leadership team, what's the 10-year target, what's the quarterly goals that you need to do to kind of hit there. And so we started assembling that. Now, completely different challenge doing it from scratch, right? I think a lot of the books that are written, a lot of the things that are out there are taking businesses from good to great, like Jim Collins or these other ones out there. But there's not a lot on, all right, Nick, you're going to start from scratch. You got nothing. So start with you, and then how are you going to add on? So at the beginning, it was, all right, how are we going to answer the phones? Let's get the phones answered, right? How are we going to deal with sign up the clients? What forms are we going to use? What documents are we going to do? All right, what's the next kind of, once we get some data rolling, what's some good KPI targets that we can get into? Who do we need to hire? What's the next step? Who's the next team member that we need to bring in? So it's all been pretty organic as we've gone through, and going from a clean slate mindset, it's been nice on how, okay, we can build this the way I want to build it. We can shape it into what it is today, which really proud of the team and what we've been able to accomplish in a relatively short amount of time. The private equity has been an interesting piece of this as well, but that's afforded me the ability to do something otherwise I couldn't do on my own, right? If you start from scratch, you're real worried about every dollar and every decision's a bigger risk. Not that we're not worried about the money still. We are. We got a lot of people that are looking at it, but you can be more strategic. You can think a little bit further ahead and say, all right, we know what we want to get, and so you got to go through the pain points and a costly pain point of that process to get there. So
Sure.
it's been a lot of fun.
So you're, because it's a startup, you're covering a number of functions, right? But specifically CEO, visionary, but also a lot of times you're also acting as a COO or an integrator, as it would be stated in EOS. How are you balancing that? That's a tough balance.
It is, but it's also based on need right now and our capacity. So as we've gone through this first 2 years, there's been different pain points along the way, and it's kind of dictated who do we need to bring into the fold. So it starts with, and probably similar to your journey with Daniel Stark, it starts real small team, right? So there's few people doing many things, and then you got to think of who do you want to bring into that. Are we bringing another intake director in? Are we bringing another case manager or paralegal? Do we need to hire another attorney? Do we need a CFO? Do we need a CMO? Do we need a CO? So all of those things have kind of happened organically, and then we've been coached with great coaching through the Fireproof coaching aspect that Kyle on our team is kind of an outside COO, if you will, or outside mindset of, okay, we can use his brain on the technology side. We've got a CFO who's also doing some operations. We've got a legal process attorney as well who's also handling that. So there's a team kind of that can implement on those functions as well.
So I'm assuming you have, once you kind of got started getting the cases, you got the phones ringing. So you got to have somebody, sales and marketing.
Yep.
Do you have an individual there that's kind of running that portion of it?
Yeah, so we started with just intake, just a person. Bernardo was the first guy with me in the office, and together we'd sit there some days hoping the phone would ring, right? Hoping the marketing was working early on, and then we would hire another paralegal, another intake rep. And so we have a head of intake. We've got our chief marketing officer who kind of blends with both. Mm-hmm. We've got operations analysts. We've got legal ops analysts. We've got an attorney, another attorney over here. We've got our chief financial officer. With the investment side is a different beast of that as well, a new area. There's law firm accounting. There's bookkeeping. There's lien resolution side of things. But then this new side of areas that I never thought I'd be thinking about, with taxes and restrictions and when and how things are going to get paid out and where the fees are going to flow and all of those things. So it's been very complicated, much more complicated than a traditional law firm. But again, we're moving at a good steady pace, so we've got the time to build that out.
So let's talk about from sales and marketing, mainly marketing, because you came in as a national play right off the bat. Tell me, based on these experiences, what do you see as challenges for the future of law firms as it relates to marketing?
It's definitely got a lot more expensive. So to back up a bit, in Arizona, the ABS structure is what's changed the landscape of private equity coming in, the alternative business structure. That has afforded some great things. It's allowed investment capital to come in. It's allowed the business world to affect law firms for good, right? Of saying, how do you operate better? How do you market more efficiently? Now in Arizona, I've seen the cost of marketing increase. I've seen it get harder to get cases. Nationally, it is incredibly difficult to market nationwide without a solid brand, right? Without a known brand. And so a lot of these decisions that we make at Big Auto are based on data and KPIs on, okay, we're going to try this thing that we haven't done yet. We don't really have data in the market that other people have done because they haven't. And is it working? If it's working, great, let's double down. If not, let's go back. And so that's part of the shift that we've had to do, is say, where do we want to go? What capital is available? How do we want to use the capital? What's the capital willing to tolerate as well, and how we're doing this, and try and forge that path of a data-driven decision on saying, okay, this is working. We can go here. Now, the question on marketing and how it's going to change in the landscape, every marketing company that I talk to seems to say there's a new weekly challenge, whether it's Google Analytics or G4 or these click-through rates, or there's something that's different that they're dealing with, and whether that's just the vendor side, industry side, giving me a new problem that I have to deal with, or that's the reality. I mean, we see that fluctuation a lot on the marketing side, so I don't think that's going away anytime soon, especially if you're trying to stretch beyond your community, right? Beyond that local presence that you have. If you're trying to reach out into these other markets, it's difficult. It's hard to get a known presence, or it's hard to have a client say, I want to call Daniel Stark, that's outside of your, I want to call Big Auto or Nick, which is why we want to do a lot of community things, even in new markets, right? If you go in there and can make an impact immediately with a backpack giveaway or a turkey giveaway or doing something, you can resonate a little bit more with the community on that side as well.
Let's talk ops. I heard you say you have like a director of ops, but you also have kind of a legal, and that goes back to, our businesses are very different than other business. I mean, we have the business side, but you also have the practice of law side. So tell me how you've set that up and how you're balancing getting returns for your investors, your private equity funds, but also dealing with all of the professional requirements of handling the cases.
So we spend a lot of time on the process, right? On the process and the development. And Mike and our team is phenomenal in how he thinks of how we can structure the steps, right? What needs to be done. There's internal processes, there's business processes, there's operational, bandwidth and how those things are going to run. But then there's the legal side as well. And where ours has been a little bit different is we also have to deal with the co-counsel process, right, of how they're going to manage the case. And we are heavily dependent on co-counsel because we market nationwide. We have cases all over the country, but it's not me working them all on my own, right, with just my Arizona license. It's co-counseling with the best attorneys that we have for each jurisdiction as we're going through that. So we've spent a lot of time in saying, okay, what are the requirements in Arizona? What are the requirements on the national scale from the ethics side? What involvement do we need to have? I don't want to micromanage great attorneys, right? I don't want to tell them how to do it, but we do want to foster an environment where we can learn from all of these co-counsels. So our process that we've set up through Filevine, which is our case management system, we try and automate the flow of how cases should go from a high level, right? Okay, in the first 90 days, what should happen? We should be able to get the police reports. We should be able to get the medical records. We should know the injuries. We should be able to grade the case and figure out the type of value we think is in this type of case. Then we can help the co-counsels say, okay, what resources do you need and how are we going to work the case to maximize the value here? So that the process of that, it's a lot. And so you got to spend a lot of time going in and digging in and saying, okay, what checks and balances do we need to put in to make sure we identify the right case, the right value? We can do what's best for the client. We can do what's best for the value of the case and really tee these cases up to get them in the right spot. So that has been a heavy focus for us on the process side.
And I imagine since you do have these trusted co-counsels across multiple states, you're dealing with those relationships. You're wanting your client to have the same satisfaction with a co-counsel as they have when they're working, for example, because you have your own lawyers working in-state Arizona cases, and then when you get these out-of-state cases, you've got these co-counsel working them. So I'm assuming you have like a group within your big auto that focuses on the referral practice, and then you've got your lawyers that are focused on in-house cases. Is that how
Correct.
you have it set
and
up?
we've separated it one step further where we have our in-house cases, we have co-counsel cases, which we only co-counsel on cases we specialize in, which is auto and truck and injury cases. Then we also have referral cases because we're getting calls on all sorts of different case types from all over the country, and we want to be able to help the clients out. It's a blessing that they're calling us. So whether or not it's an auto and truck case, we want to be able to say, hey, look, I don't handle this, but I got a guy. I know someone who specializes in Virginia, in North Carolina, in Texas, or wherever that is. So we've got different groups and different processes for how we monitor those cases and the interaction that's needed on each of those. So whether that's through lead docket, Filevine, we've set up different pathways for each of those sections.
So you obviously have a lot going on. I know you went from 0 cases to thousands of cases in a very short period of time. You've got cases handled all over the country. I want to go back to the personal side a little bit. How do you manage the stress of all of that? And you with 5 kids, I mean, it almost sounds impossible. Tell me what are some of the things that a younger executive or a lawyer that seeks to maybe get into a management role in a law firm, what kind of advice could you give them? How do you manage all of these plates that have to be spun at all times?
Great question, and happy to provide guidance to others, although hard to take it myself, right? I mean, it's a beast. It's a challenge. It's a lot of stress, a lot of work, but I am built that way. I enjoy the stress of it or the work of it.
Yeah.
I see the opportunity and the growth mindset of what we can accomplish if we put in the work. And so it is a lot. I am very blessed and fortunate to have an amazing spouse. So maybe that's the first advice I'd give a young entrepreneur is find a companion that you can really grow with and support you, because Katie makes this all possible. There's endless amounts of time I need to put in to the business side. That means I have to balance or try and balance the needs of the family differently. And so Katie's really stepped up and allowed me to be able to do that. So forever grateful for her and that ability. And then it's trying to have that forward-thinking mindset. EOS was a game changer for me. Gino Wickman and the whole series of the Traction Library, including Shine, his most recent book, has been just a phenomenal roadmap of how you can do both. You can be the entrepreneur, you can have the business side, and you can still have the family and the life that you want to have, internally. So the advice for those that are coming up is that you got to put in the work. You
Yeah.
got to put in the time. That's inevitable. I mean, you can't just accomplish these things by sheer luck or just hoping it's going to happen. But you got to grind and put that time in. And everyone, we were talking about this on our hike today. Every once in a while, trying to pick your head up and look around and just appreciate where you're at. I mean, that's a big thing where I'm at now, is just gratitude. Just when it gets hard, it's what I want. It's what I've asked for. So trying to be appreciative of the difficult times, because that's how you grow. It's how you achieve. It's how you do it. So whether that means I'm on the verge, constantly on the verge, if you will, that's the growth mindset, the fun that is in the path of the journey that we're on. So
yeah, I know. I told you, looking back, if I had any regret, it was not like looking up and just assessing, wow, look what's going on around me, and let me just take in what I'm thankful for and the fact that I'm actually able to be on this journey. You know, I get younger lawyers, that are maybe they're trying to decide between, a management leadership role in a law firm or continuing to work cases. And sometimes, being a practicing lawyer, they actually can make more money that way, right? So it's a tough decision to go into leadership in a law firm. And I think that you have to really, really want that, right?
Yeah.
Because there might be a financial sacrifice associated with it. But it's very interesting. And you're one of the few people that I know that's been able to experience this, because with private equity, their interest in legal, it's kind of like the last fragmented market in the world, in the U.S., that can be consolidated. So they're like super interested right now. And I know there's a lot of concerns, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen. They've got the ABS, they've got these LSOs and these various models they're trying to develop, maybe like accounting. But what it's opening the door for are people like you that are very interested in leadership and C-suite opportunities. And so I was excited to interview you, because I think that lawyers are going to have choices to make, and you've made the choice. Are you glad you've made that choice?
Yeah, and I definitely am. And to back up a little bit, it is a choice that every attorney has to make, and there's not a wrong choice, right? If you love litigation, if you love going to court, if you love the thrill, and it is a thrill, right, of that game, that sport of going and taking a case the distance, that's great, and you should stick with it, and you should do that. And there's lots of attorneys that's their sweet spot, and that's what they want to do, and trying to find your seat. And I think a lot of attorneys that I talk to don't think about it. They just kind of put their head down and grind and say, well, this is what I'm been asked to do or what I'm supposed to do. So at more attorneys thinking about what they like. But for me, I've really enjoyed the business side, right? And I've been drawn to it more so than litigation. Litigation was the closest thing to sports really that I could get to after, the career ended. And so there was that natural pull and desire to continue with that litigation. But I've really enjoyed the business side. And there is a pay discrepancy, if you will. Litigators can control their take home a little bit more out the gate. So it's something to consider. But there's all sorts of opportunities in getting to know your firm a lot more. And not every firm does this, but hopefully more will start to. Is there should be a role for everyone in the firm for what they want to do, right? Whether that is in intake, or whether that's in business, or whether that's in marketing, or whatever the different aspects are in Thrive. So I think it's encouraging more attorneys or legal professionals to emulate what you guys have built in your firm and push for the next opportunity. If you're bored answering the phones in intake, that's going to affect the client experience. So stop doing it. But if you're a good team member, then let's figure out another seat for you. But as far as attorneys go in this new wave of private equity, it's coming. And so it's here, right? And it's just growing, and they want more. They want more involvement. They want more opportunities to really help. And there's a lot of great things that can happen for us. It's been phenomenal. The growth that we've had is because of the capital investment. We wouldn't have been able to do it without. So, and then as far as the legal side or the ethical concerns, we spent a lot of time. Arizona spent a lot of time beforehand structuring the rules to prevent the concern, or maybe not prevent the concern, but try and have the guidelines up to, if you work them properly, if you have the cases work properly with the attorneys, if you have the investors outside of the law firm and involved in more of the, investment and maybe some business strategy, because there's great business minds that are outside of the legal space that will only benefit the law firm, right, if used properly. And so we've tried to really be intentional with that, really focus on the ethics of it, focus on the structure, the processes, and everything we do, because it's new. We double, triple check, where we go through, okay, this is the plan. Does everyone feel comfortable with this? Okay, ethics counsel, this is what we want to do. Okay, bar committee, in front of the ABS committee, we just had an interesting question come up where they use Big Auto as an example. Is we wanted to use a DBA, right? We're Big Auto accident attorneys, but we wanted to potentially use Big Auto injury attorneys. And is that difference, or are we disguising the issue because we got approved as Big Auto accident attorneys in the ABS world? And so doing it the right way, taking the time, the effort, the money to do it the right way is important. And so if you do that, it's been a great journey of having private equity involved and going through.
Well, I think it's who knows where this is going to go. I think it's going to open a ton of opportunity in the legal field. Some good, some maybe not so good. But I certainly think that it gives young professionals a lot more options, and that's kind of exciting, for people coming up. And with this influx of capital, it's certainly creating a lot of opportunities. It's certainly creating a lot of challenges for firms, even your firm, in the fact that there's money flooding in. There's more marketing money being spent that's causing costs to go up. I still think brand wins, but there's certainly public has a lot more options out there they're aware of, for sure. So
the money's coming in, and it's not, I don't want to say changing the industry as far as the client feel or what they see from a law firm, but law firms are getting prepared to be acquired, to consolidate. That's happening all over the country, and we're just getting started. Whether it's the baseball analogy of feeling like we're kind of in the first inning of this game of it coming in, like you brought up before, of they've already done it, right? The money's already done this in other industries, and they're trying to figure out, does this work in the law firm side, whether it's through an ABS, whether it's through an LSO, or some version of in between on those components. But it's here, it's shifting things a little bit, and it's exciting. I'm very happy to be in the middle of this shift and everything that's going on.
Well, man, I can't wait to continue to watch your journey. I think that people should be watching you, because I think what you're doing is certainly, you're way out there out front. So thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun being on the verge, both the podcast and with the career.